First of all, Bridjet Pinson from Cellular is here with us this morning. It would be nice to take someone like Tegan and just put it in your pocket and have your own little weather person at your disposal. You can kind of do that now with your phone because you have it, including, of course, you have to give a plug to the KHQA app. It's a news app. It's a weather app. You can get your sports and everything else on it. So you were here this month to talk about a couple of things, one of which being weather apps.
Absolutely. So the KHQA app is actually a really popular app that customers always are asking us to help put on their phones.
Great.
But there's some other really popular apps out there for checking the weather, staying up to date with radar. AccuWeather is a really popular one. Weather Channel has an app out there. And then there's My Radar, which is extremely popular in terms of being able to check that radar, know what's coming up with the weather, and when severe weather strikes, being informed about what's going on and where it's supposed to hit.
Now, what's the difference in all of those apps? Because each one probably does a little something different. And my opinion here, you got to know a little something about what you're looking at. You can't just pull up stuff and go, oh, relative humidity is this, and this radar is here, and a straight line's coming this way. It's going to rain. You've got to know some stuff.
You do. And so each app is going to have different features. Typically, the more localized ones give you that really good snapshot of what's going on in your community. Okay. But in terms of the national ones, they also do a really good job of keeping you updated on like national weather alerts and things of that nature. And also they do give you the humidity and things like that, but you may or may not know what to do with that information.
Like, what's an isobar? Detects wind. So travel would be a good thing then to have one of those apps.
Yeah, absolutely. And then also keep in mind that your cell phone is a tool. So when severe weather hits, knowing, just a few tips to keep in mind is keeping your phone charged. If you don't have a mobile charger, investing in a battery pack. So US Cellular sells batteries reserves so you can charge on the go. Also, if severe weather hits, sometimes the cell phone towers get really bogged down with people trying to get a hold of each other. If that ever happens, make sure to send a text message. Those are going to get through when things like that happen.
Because they use less data than a phone call.
They do, yeah. They use less on the network.
Okay, very nice. Anything else about weather apps? Do we need to talk about reliability, or are they all pretty much use the same kind of radar technology?
They're all pretty similar, and you have to go with which one you think is the best fit for you. Also, many of the phones out today, like the iPhone 6 and the GS5, they get the national weather alerts. That's actually ran by the FCC. So when a severe storm or weather alert hits, it gets that really loud buzz, then your phone goes off and you get informed, which is another great tool. If maybe you're just not forward thinking, you don't know what's going on at that time, so your phone's going to let you know, hey, you got something going on.
Sure, it's just like having a weather radio in your home. This one's with you in your pocket, in your purse, in your car, wherever you go.
Everywhere you go.
And they also, the Amber Alerts, that's very handy and very frightening when they go off.
That is true. Yep, Amber Alerts come out with those too now.
All right, very nice. Well, coming up in our next half hour, an interesting topic, because normally we talk about apps and ways to use your cell phone, but we're talking about the evolution of cell phones.
We are. We're going to talk about the evolution of cell phones. So from the 80s to today, where we're at.
And where we're going.
And where we're going.
6:42 is your time. Bridjet Pinson from US Cellular is here this morning talking about the evolution of cell phones. And I always think of Zach Morris with his big, large cell phone that he had at Bayside High. But bag phones came out before that.
Yeah, bag phones. So when we talk about the 80s, we talk about bag phones.
Yeah.
So some of the first bag phones US Cellular sold were $99 with a 1-year contract, and they had a 2.5-hour talk time.
My first cell phone wasn't a bag phone like Tegan's, but it had 60 minutes a month. I mean, think about it, 60 minutes a month. It's 2 minutes a day.
That's crazy compared to how we use our phones now.
No doubt. So then in the 90s, things started to change and get a little bit more portable with the Zach Morris type phone.
Yeah, so that was when we had the first kind of handheld, more condensed version of the phone. Still, when you compare it to what we have now, most phones, could only save about 20 numbers. You couldn't store contact names in most phones.
Texting was not an option.
Texting wasn't an option yet, but it still was such a big improvement at that time over the bag phone.
Sure, and then in the 2000s, we got 2007-ish, the new iPhone, and then smartphones were kind of born.
When you look at the 2000s, the big thing there was the iPhone launch in 2007, and still today, Apple, dominates the smartphone platform.
Sure, and even the BlackBerries before the iPhone, and the little PDAs we had, which weren't cell phones, but those kind of culminated in 2007 with the iPhone launch.
Absolutely.
So then, what's to come, and what should people look for in a phone? Because you can still get a non-smartphone, a dumb phone, I don't know what they're called technically.
You can still get a non-smartphone.
Okay.
Those are still available today. But really what people look for when they're looking for phones and wireless providers is they're really looking for network, price, and devices, is having the device that works for them. It's about, finding things that customers want to be able to do on the go. And it's more than just cell phones now. A lot of people use cell phones and tablets, such as maybe they'll get an iPhone 6 and an iPad Air 2 to go with it and sync both components of their life together.
And Samsung kind of does the same thing. They've got their tablets, they've got their phone, so you can kind of get those and they talk a little easier to each other.
Oh my goodness,
it's a Google-based system there, so you can incorporate that as well. How surprised are you at how quickly this technology change? Because, you know, we both grew up in the 80s and the 90s, maybe me more so in the 80s than you, but, and you saw the evolution of cell phones, and now just look what you can do in the palm of your hand.
I mean, I just think I've worked for the company since 2008, and just looking at how much we've changed in that time frame is really astounding to me. What you're able to do on your phone just continues to get more and grows more and more, and what you're able to do on connected devices such as tablets. I'm really excited for where the future holds with smart technology, with a lot of the watches that are out now. There's so much exciting stuff happening, and most of the internet traffic that you're seeing now is coming from mobile devices, and it's just going to continue to move in that direction.
Isn't that bizarre? So do you have any kind of sneak peek in the future?
I don't have sneak peeks into the future.
You don't drive a DeLorean and you just came back from
Who knows?
25, because 2015 is the year that Marty McFly went into the future.
So we're already there.
Or, yeah, 85, so there we go. Well, Bridjet, thanks for coming in. Always a pleasure to talk to you, and kind of fun to learn about the history of cell phones this morning.